Hi friends, welcome back to the Ohio County Public Library today. So, we have been talking about hibernation, right? So, back here on the wall behind me, we have some pictures and we have our puppets from Monday so that we can talk about whether these animals hibernate or not. Now, you know what I found? When I got on the internet and started looking up whether animals hibernate or not, a lot of people don't agree with whether they hibernate or whether they just slow down during the winter. Now, that slowdown period has a special name. It is called torpor, Torpor. And torpor just means that you slow down. So animals would sleep more. Even their heart rate would drop. And that could happen for just a little while, or it could happen for a little bit longer. So these were hard questions to answer, but we're going to try our best. What you found may not necessarily agree. Like I said, I found some that went back and forth no matter what I read. Some people said yes, they hibernate. Some people said no, they don't hibernate. So we're going to go through these anyway. So our first one, rabbits. Do rabbits hibernate? No, they do not. So we are going to attach our no up here by our picture of a rabbit. What about an owl? I had a hard time getting anyone to agree on this one. Some people said yes, owls hibernate. They don't eat very much, they sleep, but it's not really hibernation. We think of hibernating as being for a longer amount of time. And it's if it's a nice day, if it warms up a little bit, or if it's sunny and it's a good day for hunting, they wake up and they go out and they hunt and they fly around. So most of the information that I found, even though it didn't all agree, said no, owls don't hibernate. So I'm going to slide over here to the middle so we can reach. And we are up to ground squirrels. Tree squirrels. Sorry, not ground squirrels. Do tree squirrels hibernate? That was another tricky one. Tree squirrels? No, do not hibernate. Ground squirrels? Hibernate. Well, how do we know which is which? Well, the picture that I have up here is a tree squirrel. And tree squirrels do not hibernate. What about turtles? Another tricky one. Depends on what kind of turtle it is and where you live. Box turtles, our information went back and forth a lot. Box turtles definitely start to slow down as the temperatures start to get colder. So even September, October, depending on what the weather's like, these guys would kind of pull into their shell and they would do a lot of sleeping. But most information said, no, it's not really hibernating either, because they'll come out and they'll do stuff. So no, what I found said box turtles do not. Now, that's not all turtles, but we're going to say box turtles because those are the ones around here that we would see the most. All right, sliding on down to our other animals. So what about Mr. Skunk? Does Mr. Skunk hibernate? Nope. Same thing. He might slow down. If it's really cold, he might get into a burrow or a tree, even underneath your porch or somewhere in your yard, and he might do a lot more sleeping than he would. He would slow down. He wouldn't eat anything. But as soon as it starts to get a little bit warmer, he's coming right back out. So no, skunks do not hibernate. What about fish? Now, I can't tell you what kind of fish our puppet is. I think it's kind of a puppet of a fish of your imagination. But our picture is of a largemouth bass. Do fish hibernate? No. Have you ever heard of ice fishing? Or have you ever gone ice fishing? No, they don't hibernate. They get down deep in the water. They might kind of get toward the mud where they could stay a little bit warmer. But no, they don't hibernate either. You can go ice fishing, which means that people very carefully check to make sure that the ice is thick enough, and they drill a hole and they sit and fish out of that hole and they catch things even when there's lots of snow and ice around. And finally, the one that we have talked about all week. What about our bear? Yes, bears hibernate. So, again, that was not as easy of a question as I thought it was going to be. When I asked that, I thought it was going to be really simple to find all sorts of information about whether these animals hibernate or not. And what I found is that a lot of people don't exactly agree on what hibernating is. So if you're talking about sleeping for a long amount of time, like a bear would, sleeping for months, not eating, not going to the bathroom, not moving around, then these animals don't do that. If you're talking about just a time where they slow down, they're not as active, they don't eat as much, they're not out running around as much, well, then that's a little bit different. All right, we have two stories today. Our first story, we are going to start with Over and Under the Snow. I like this one. It is not a nonfiction book, it's a picture book. However, it has lots of good information and it has lots of really cool pictures about what goes on under the snow. Have you ever thought about what's happening under the snow? Before I read this book, I don't think I really thought about what was going on under the snow either. And when I first started reading it, by under the snow, I thought they meant underground. And they're not. They're actually talking about that space that develops between the snow and the ground. Sometimes as things get warm and it melts a little bit, and then it gets cold again, it might leave a little bit of a space, and animals use that. I did not know. So this is Over and Under the Snow by Kate Messner with art by Christopher Silas Neal. Over the snow I glide into woods frosted, fresh and white. Over the snow, a flash of fur. A red squirrel disappears down a crack. Where did he go? Under the snow, Dad says. Under the snow is a whole secret kingdom where the smallest forest animals stay safe and warm. You're skiing over them right now. Over the snow, I glide past beech trees, rattling leftover leaves, and strong, silent pines that stretch to the sky. On a high branch, a gray-horned owl keeps watch. Under the snow, a tiny shrew dodges columns of ice. It follows a cool tunnel along the moss, out of sight. Look, Dad says, tracks. Tracks always tell a story. Over the snow, a deer has crossed our path. Deep hoof prints punched through the crust, up the hill, under a tree. An oval of melted snow tells the story of a good night's sleep. Under the snow, deer mice doze. They cuddle up against the cold in a nest of feathers and fur. Over the snow, I climb, digging into my edges so I don't slide back down. Under the snow, voles scratch through slippery tunnels, searching for morsels of summer feasts. Over the snow, I swoosh down, down, faster, faster, down, faster, faster. Whoops! Under the snow, a snowshoe hare watches from a shelter of spruce. Almost invisible, she smooths her fur, a coat of winter white. Over the snow, I glide past reeds where tadpoles play tag in the springtime. Under the snow, fat bullfrogs snooze. They dream of some warm days back when they had tails. Over the snow, I stand and stare. Little mountains in the marsh. Under the snow, beavers gnaw on aspen bark. Settle in for supper. Can they hear my tummy rumbling too? Over the snow, stop. A sound. We stand like statues carved in ice till a bushy-tailed fox steps from a thicket, tips his ears to the ground, listens, listens, listens still, and leaps out onto the snow after an invisible dinner. His paws scratch away to find the mouse that he heard scritch, scritch, scratching along underneath, under the snow. Over the snow I glide. A full moon lights my path to supper. Under the snow, a chipmunk wakes for a meal. Bedroom, kitchen, hallway, his house is under my feet. Over the snow, I climb one last hill. Bonfire smoke rises, warm hands, hot cocoa, hot dogs sizzling on pointed sticks. Under the snow, a black bear snores, still full of October blueberries and trout. Over the snow, the fire crackles and sparks shoot up into the sky. I lick sticky marshmallow from my lips and lean back with heavy eyes. Shadows dance in the flames. Under the snow, a queen bumblebee drones away. December, all alone. She'll rule a new colony in the spring. Over the snow, I glide home on tired legs. Clouds whisper down feathery soft flakes. Under the covers, I snuggle deep and drift into dreams of cuddling deer mice and slumbering frogs, hungry beavers and tunneling voles, drowsy bears and busy squirrels, and the secret kingdom under the snow. And at the back of our story, it explains some of the animals that were in our book and how they spend their winter. So that was a good one, Over and Under the Snow. Our last one is William's Winter Nap by Linda Ashman and illustrated by Chuck Groening. And this is just a fun one. In a house on a hill that's tall and steep, there's a boy named William who's ready to sleep. He drinks his cocoa, climbs in bed, he fluffs his pillow beneath his head, then burrows down for a nice long nap, but wakes to the sound of a tap, tap, tap. Excuse me, but I've lost my way. I'm cold and tired. May I please stay? William says, yes, I'll scooch a bit. There's room for two. I'm sure we'll fit. Can you tell what the little animal is? I think it's a chipmunk. The two climb in and curl up tight. They yawn and say, good night, good night. It's quiet, just the clock's tick-tock. But wait, what's that? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, what a lovely cozy place. Could you spare a smidge of space? Will says, yes, we'll scooch a bit. There's room for three. I'm sure we'll fit. Can you tell what that one is? I think it's a porcupine. It wouldn't be a very comfortable guy to sleep with. The three climb in and curl up tight. They yawn and say, good night, good night. It's peaceful in the sleepy room until that is the boom, boom, boom. Who do you think it is? My toes are numb. My tail is too. Okay if I come in with you? Will says, yes, we'll scooch a bit. There's room for four. I'm sure we'll fit. The four climb in and curl up tight. They yawn and say, good night, good night. See what that is? I think it's groundhog. Ping, ping, ping. Could that be rain? No, pebbles on the window pane. May I come in? I need some rest. I promise I'm a perfect guest. You can't see the picture. It's a raccoon. Will says, yes, we'll scooch a bit. There's room for five. I'm sure we'll fit. The five climb in and curl up tight. They yawn and say, good night, good night. The sound of snoring, soft and low. Then, crunch. Some footsteps in the snow. A note is slipped beneath the door. Do you have room for just one more? I'd rather not. Too squished. No space. There's got to be some other place. We don't have room. Too hard to fit. No way. We can't consider it. Will says, if it's someone small, it might not be so hard at all. He tugs the door to see who's there. Uh-oh. Oh my. What now? Bear? I saw your light through the trees. I'm lonely. May I join you, please? Bear shivers in the falling snow. I see no room. That's fine. I'll go. It's awfully cold. The snow, the ice. He'd keep us warm. He seemed quite nice. They all say, wait, we'll scooch a bit. There's room for six. Somehow we'll fit. The six climb in and curl up tight. They yawn and say, good night, good night. Sweet dreams, my friend, says Will. Sleep tight. I'll see you in the warm spring light. The end. I hope you like that one. I enjoy that one too. So, things coming up for next week. Next week, we are going to be doing Hanukkah books all week long. So, a nice opportunity for you to find out what is Hanukkah. If that's a word that is maybe unfamiliar to you, maybe your family doesn't celebrate Hanukkah, maybe you've never really heard of it. It'll be a good chance for you to learn a little bit about what that holiday is all about. So, all next week, Hanukkah books, because Hanukkah begins next week. So, I hope you enjoyed our hibernation things today. And I saved our announcement for last. Ticker at the bottom of the screen. I really do need you to get signed up for holiday boxes. We don't have very many left. at all. So if you are still interested in getting a holiday box and you have not sent me an email, please do so as fast as you can, okay? I am getting really low on Christmas boxes. I have several Hanukkah boxes left for anyone who needs to celebrate. I do have a couple friends who signed up for Hanukkah boxes, so don't forget, you're going to need to get those picked up because Hanukkah is going to be here before Christmas. So let me know if you need your box. You can drop me an email at Leanne, Leeann, .cleary, Cleary, at ohiocountylibrary.org. If you have not picked up your box, they are all ready to be picked up. So if you need to come in and pick up your box, it really helps if you let me know you're coming. That way I can make sure that our circulation staff knows that you are going to be here. But if you let me know, I can have them all ready for you. And that way everyone knows to be waiting for you. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for Hibernation Week. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. See ya, guys.